Hello, Lightworkers. Welcome to Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you watch this video. In this video, I'm talking about a number of things, but the main message is about being awake. How do I know that I'm awake? And if I am awake, what does it mean? And what does it not mean? I'll see you in the next bit. So here we are in the month of March. Now, the month of March is an interesting month because on the 20th, that's this Saturday coming, in the whole world, there is a protest going to happen. And it's a march for freedom, whatever you want to call it, in all countries. And we're going to go. We're going into Madrid, and that's where it's going to be held. And I think in every country, there's going to be protests. I'm interested to see what happens here because this is a very important time. What I've noticed is that there are protests happening all over again. Suddenly, all over. They stopped. Why? Because it was bloody freezing and nobody wanted to go out in the horrible rain and everything and the cold and everything. But now we're in spring and it's starting to change again and people are starting to go out again. And remember, we're in the stage of the period of time, the age of Aquarius of I know. People know the information and out they go. Out they go. So that's the first thing that's going to happen is that we've got this big protest going on. I think it should be fascinating to see. And we want to go so that we can be with people of like mind, to be with normal people. And I'm going to come to that. So, a couple of other things. I was meditating the other day, and there'd been a sequence of stuff happening, you know, the usual crap happening that you see happening around the world. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I feel a little bit tired. And I think a lot of people are feeling a little bit tired. I mean, goodness gracious, you know, we've been on the front lines for the last year. What I mean by the front lines is when you are asleep, this is all normal and it's stressful. Look, I'm not taking it, you know, the sleepers also suffering from stress and depression and all of that. But it's kind of like you're not having to fight against anything. It's like acceptance. You know, this is bad, it's shit. But hey, this is just the way that it is. When you're awake, you see it. You know, you see that the emperor's got no clothes on and you see that everybody believes that he's got clothes on and you're the only one who wants to speak out. You have to speak out, but you against the whole crowd. It's very wearing. And so we all can get tired, you know, especially after like this length of time that we've been kind of going, no, this isn't right. And so I was meditating and I was communicating with the ones upstairs, and I said, you know, I'm really envious of you. I'm envious of you being able to be there in that place of peace and you know, calmness and spirituality and high vibration and everything, and I'm really envious of you. And instantly they said to me, we are envious of you all. And they were saying, we are envious of you all because you were able to be in this experience, living it, breathing it. It's tangible. You can touch it, you can feel it. It's filled with drama and good and bad and ups and downs. And they were saying, our existence isn't like that. Yes, it's very beautiful, but there's nothing like the real thing. Okay? And this is a point that I've made before about the fact that if we have too much goodness, if goodness and wonderfulness and paradise and perfection goes on for too long, then we invariably sabotage it. We self-sabotage. And you can see this in people's lives. People self-sabotage all of the time because it's too good. It's too nice. Now that can be for reasons of their own problems, that they don't believe that they deserve it, and so they have to sabotage when things go well. But also it's because we do like contrast, where without contrast we can't experience. And the idea is that we came from God because he couldn't experience his own self, and split off so that God was able to experience what it was like to be something else. And so they were saying that they were envious of us and being able to to live that drama, and that was why they volunteered to do the work that they're doing, so that they could, at least by proxy, enjoy their last 10 minutes of the film. Okay, it's just interesting. It's it's all relative, isn't it? And it's relative. It's like if you have it too good, then you need a bit of dark, a bit of black, a bit of give me a bit of trouble. It's the paper tiger, isn't it? Remember the paper tiger that they put through the monkey cage once a month, and that used to give the monkeys life. It used to set them off. We're in our paper tiger phase, and if anything, we're going to come through this so much stronger, so much bigger, so much better, so much more whole by the time that we get through this. All right, so that's kind of like the message is, don't rush it, enjoy the moment, because we'll never have another moment like this in this existence. This is the time. So then I want to talk about being awake. Now, Pedro Kenworthy, who's in our Telegram group, please come and join our Telegram group if you want to be with like-minded people. It's lovely, filled with beautiful people, and we all help one another. So Pedro was asking a question, how do I know that I'm awake? How do I know? Do I have to believe everything? Do I have to believe every one of the conspiracy theories, because some of them seem a bit crazy to me? Okay. And lots of people give their opinions, brilliant opinions on that. And because I want to talk about something else after this. But basically, being awake is not having your critical factor bypassed. Right. As a hypnotherapist, in my training, I was shown how hypnosis bypasses the critical factor. The critical factor that we have is like the guardian on the gate. Information comes in and the guardian says, hang on a minute, is this information trustworthy? Is it acceptable? Is it good? Is it correct? If yes, I'll let it in. If no, I won't let it in. Okay? So that's the guardian on the gate. With hypnosis, and especially waking hypnosis, then what happens is you offer people suggestions, and the bypass, the critical factor, the guardian on the gate, goes to sleep. Okay, another sleeping system. When that guardian goes to sleep, suggestions go in easily. Now, how can it go to sleep? Well, if you're in trance, it goes to sleep. If you trust the source, it goes to sleep. It doesn't question it. So, being awake is when you have your critical factor fully up and running. Your guardian on the gate is going, hang on a minute, information, wrong. Batting it with a tennis racket, okay? And only letting in information that is viable, correct, trustworthy, and you can do your investigation and prove it, at least within a certain sphere, prove it to be trustworthy. Okay? So, people who are asleep have no critical factor. They go, the television says, this is the case, and they go, okay, this is the case. Or the television says, hey, you can have this opinion or this opinion, giving the perception of having choice, the illusion of choice, where there's no choice. It's like this opinion, which is the same as this opinion, just the opposite side, but within the same field of what our story, our narrative. Yeah. So really, that's all that you need to know about being awake, is that your critical factor And what's a critical fact is questioning everything. Questioning everything. Somebody said the other day, in criticism of what we were saying, just stop trying to find proof that it's wrong. Why do you, everything that you comes your way, you're trying to disprove it? Man, that was advice from a sleeper to somebody who's awake. Because people who are awake it is an obligation that they try to disprove everything. Why? In science, when they do science projects or any kind of project, the idea is you present a theory and then you go out to disprove it as much as you possibly can. And if you can't disprove it, it stands. Okay? That's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. We have to disprove. It doesn't mean that we're negative. It doesn't make us into negative people. Absolutely not. We're cautious. We question everything. Man, the most famous philosophers in the world have told us to question everything. And that's what being awake is. So, and sometimes you can question the theories too, the conspiracy theories. You've got to question them. You've got to, as Anthony de Mello says, like a goldsmith, you've got to rub, you've got to grind, you've got to scrape, just to test if it's really gold. That's what being awake is. Being awake is not believing every single thing, because if you believed every single thing, then you would be asleep again. Okay? So, that's what being awake is. But I was talking to the guys upstairs again about that very subject, and they said, well, yes, that we agree that that's what being awake is questioning everything and using your critical factor. But they said, but we want to make something very clear, that being awake is not an accolade. It should not be worn as a badge. It isn't a trophy that you carry around. And they said that we are seeing many people using it almost like a badge. Yeah? I'm awake. Why did they say that? They said because being awake is natural, normal. You're just normal. Because when you are up and walking around and moving, you should be awake. And so what they're saying is your state of awakenedness is just a state of normality. You're just normal. And it's interesting because Cynthia said yesterday, I'm looking forward to going to being with normal people. And that's being with awakened people, but no normal people. So let's get too above ourselves and think that we're something special because we're awake. We are normal. And the sleepers are abnormal. That's not normal. It is not normal to be up and walking around and to be asleep. But again, to mention something Anthony de Mello says, or said, bless him, que descanse en paz. He said, the majority of people are born asleep. They marry in their sleep. And they die in their sleep. And that is a sad indictment on our society, but it's the truth that some people never wake up in their entire life. So, we're awake, we're normal, and we're going to join normal people on the 20th. Have a look around, find out where your group is that's going to meet up in this protest on Saturday the 20th, and be there and just hug the people around you. Yeah, the normal people. All right, I'll finish with a story, and it's a story that was designed to help you not to suffer the ups and downs of this situation. Okay? So, one time in a village, there was a young girl who announced to her parents, she was only 16, announced to her parents that she was pregnant. Well, in that town at that time, being pregnant at 16 was the biggest scandal that could possibly happen to a girl. And she said, under pressure from the parents to find out who the father was, she said that it was the priest, the guru priest, who lived in the forest and who would be meditating in the forest, and people would go to him and ask him advice and things like that. So he was a well thought of man. Well, the village was absolutely in scandal. It was shocked, and as a whole, the whole of the village went to the forest to find the man, the guru, the priest. They found him there. He was sitting meditating, and they stood round and they called him all the names under the sun. How dare you? It's disgusting. You're supposed to be a man of God, and you have done this, and it's horrible, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And the priest looked at them and said, very well, very well. Well, the villagers went, and of course the girl, nobody ever went to see the priest again. He was kind of ousted from the whole of society. When the baby was born, the villagers returned to see this priest who was still there meditating, and they said, now, because of your evil ways, you are going to have to take care of this child. And they give him the child. And the priest looked at them all and said, very well, very well. And off they went, and they left the child there. Well, the priest found a woman that was willing to work with him from the village, and he paid her to take care of the child, to take the child in. So about 3 months later, the girl, the mother of the baby, broke down into tears and went to see her parents and said, I can't do this anymore. I'm missing my baby. I have to tell you that really the father of my child is the next door neighbour, a young man who she was friends with. It isn't the priest at all. Well, the village was absolutely embarrassed. They were so embarrassed, and they went as a whole to see the priest again, and they said, we're really sorry, she was lying, and we thought she was telling the truth, and we're really sorry, and how, please forgive us. And the priest looked at them and said, very well, very well. And in many ways, I suppose that's stoicism, isn't it? He was stoic, but in many ways that's what we need to be. The people, the society are reactive. They're reactive. They're up and they're down, and this is terrible, and this is lovely, and this is disgusting, and this is wonderful, and up and down. They're like a little cork on the waves of the sea. We need to be stable. We need to see the good and say, very well, very good. And we see the bad and we say, very good. Okay? We need to be solid, and we mustn't flow like the waves of the sea. We need to be the dock, solid and unmovable, because that's what's going to keep us emotionally strong, that's what's going to keep us safe, and that's what's going to help others to be attracted to us, the beacons of light. Because in this world of chaos and darkness and evil, people are looking for some kind of way out. They're looking for some kind of light. They're looking for some kind of inspiration. That's what we've got to be, solid. And yes, we're going to have our ups and downs. Yes, we're going to have our tears. But that's just to help a release. That's just to give you a little release, and then you're back to you. Very well. Very good. Okay? So, have a great week, and I'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.